When something bad happens, do you try to look on the bright side? Stay positive, be grateful. What if I told you that constantly forcing yourself to stay positive can actually backfire? Welcome to Mind Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Nina Savelle-Rocklin, psychoanalyst, here to turn your subconscious into your superpower. Today, we're talking about toxic positivity. So what is toxic positivity? It's this belief that we should always be happy, always look on the bright side, and always be grateful, no matter what. It's the social media posts that tell us to choose happiness without acknowledging that sometimes life just hurts. Let's look at why forced positivity can actually be harmful, how it affects us, and most importantly, how to change, how to break free from this. It is easy to fall into this toxic positivity trap. Let me tell you about a moment when I fell into that trap. When my youngest daughter, we affectionately call the Empress, not so much anymore because she's 17, but at the time she was the Empress because she had a personality and still does. She has a personality to match that title. She is now a queen. Okay. So one day she was playing outside, running around, having fun, full of energy, when all of a sudden she tripped and fell and she scraped her knee up really pretty badly. And as a mom, my immediate instinct was to make it better. So I rushed over and I did everything wrong. Everything wrong. I said, "Oh, it's okay. It's not that bad. It could have been worse. Let's put a Band-Aid on. You're going to feel better in a moment. You're good." But instead of calming down, she cried even harder. She had tears streaming down her little face, and she looked at me and she said, "But Mom, it hurts. It hurts." And that's when it hit me. I wasn't acknowledging her pain. I wasn't allowing her to feel what she was feeling. Instead, I was trying to rush her through it, to skip over the hurt and just get to the everything's okay part as quickly as possible. I wanted her to feel better, but in doing so, I sent her the message that her pain just was something to get over. Wasn't important. It wasn't okay to feel hurt. And that was really a wake-up call because it made me realize how often we do this to ourselves and to others, how often we skip over difficult emotions because they're uncomfortable and we want to get to the feeling better part as quickly as possible. But the truth is, that is not how healing works, not with physical pain, and definitely not with emotional pain. Here's the thing. As human beings, we're actually meant to experience a wide range of emotions. Joy, sadness, anger, fear, disappointment, excitement. It's all part of being human. But when we force ourselves to be positive, we're essentially saying that only some emotions are acceptable. There's no space for anything else. And that can be damaging. Think about a time when you were going through something tough. Maybe a breakup, maybe a job loss, a health scare, something was happening with someone you loved. You were going through a tough time. And someone told you to just be positive, or look on the bright side, or everything happens for a reason. How did that make you feel? Did it help you feel better? Or did it make you feel even more alone and frustrated? If you felt dismissed, that's what toxic positivity does. If you felt frustrated, that's what toxic positivity does. It tells us our feelings are wrong or inconvenient. We should just push them down and keep smiling no matter what. Like when Sabrina unexpectedly lost her job. A job she loved, a job she worked hard to get, a job she cherished. So she was devastated when she lost her job. She was super worried about her future. She was worried about finances. And she felt this really deep sense of loss. It was her dream job. And she had it and then she lost it. She was so upset. And when she tried to talk about it with her friends, they'd say things like, "Oh, at least now you have time to focus on other things. You were working so hard all the time." Or, you know, the everything happens for a reason. And of course, they would say things like, "Oh, you're just going to end up with a better job. Just be positive. Wait and see." Now, I am sure that her friends meant well. They thought they were being supportive, but their comments only made Sabrina feel worse. Instead of feeling understood, she felt super alone. And that's the impact of toxic positivity. It invalidates our experience. It makes us feel like we're wrong for having emotions that don't fit into that super positive, be happy box. And it happens all the time in our lives. Like, scroll through inspirational quotes on Instagram. You will see what I mean. When you're having a hard time and you scroll through those posts, do they actually help, or do they sometimes make you feel worse? Often they make us feel worse. Why? Because they make you think you should just decide to be happy. Let go of pain by being grateful and positive. Oh, as if that were even possible. That is the insidious nature of toxic positivity disguised as inspiration. It oversimplifies our complicated emotional lives and makes us feel like we're failing in some way if we can't just think positive and be better. Think positive and drop it. Ignore it. Positive, think it away. Another issue with this kind of content is that it promotes the idea that certain emotions are somehow wrong or harmful. I've seen posts that say things like, "Negativity is a choice." Or what about this one? Oh, this one. Seriously, this one drives me nuts. "Your vibe attracts your tribe." Can you even? Your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay, as if you could simply choose happiness or simply decide not to feel sad or angry or scared. And if you can't, then somehow you're responsible for having people around you that are negative. Please, this kind of messaging makes you feel guilty for just having normal human reactions to the challenges of life. And by the way, there is no such thing as a negative emotion. That's right. I'm going to repeat that. There is no such thing as a negative emotion. Emotions are just reactions to situations. The problem with that label of a negative emotion is then we don't want to be negative. We want to be positive and stay positive, which just ends up dismissing our reality. And then we feel like we're negative people. We're being negative. Some feelings are more painful or difficult than other feelings, but we should not label them as negative. They're painful, they're difficult. They're not negative, and we're not being negative if we feel them. Also, all our emotions serve a purpose. Sadness tells us we've lost something important or someone, something meaningful to us. Anger signals that a boundary has been crossed in some way. Anxiety can alert us to potential threats. And when we try to shut down those emotions or gloss over them with a veneer of positivity, we miss out on important information about ourselves and our lives. So what can you do? Next time you see a quote unquote inspirational post, ask yourself, does this acknowledge the full range of human emotions? Or is it promoting an unrealistic standard of constant happiness? By the way, if we are always happy, how will we know when we're happy? Like, what is that saying about if there's no valleys, you can't see the mountains? If you're always happy, how do you know you're happy? How do you know anything about yourself if you're always happy? Instead, create space for authenticity in your life. Instead of saying, choose happiness, what if you said, all feelings are welcome here? Imagine how much more connected and understood you might feel and how much more connected to yourself you will be. Resilience isn't about always being positive. Resilience is about being able to name, face, and move through all our emotions, the joy, the pain, everything in between, with self-compassion and courage. Toxic positivity can influence our sense of self because we start to believe there is something wrong with us for feeling sad or angry or scared. And over time, this leads to a sense that we're just not okay because we have feelings that aren't positive. Like Daniel, great example. He was going through a really rough time. His relationship ended. His job was on the line. One of his kids stopped speaking to him. He was really struggling. But instead of allowing himself to feel sad, frustrated, angry, hurt, he kept telling himself, I should be grateful for what I have. I should be stronger than this. And guess what happened? Instead of feeling better, he felt worse. Now he felt ashamed of his sadness and his pain. He felt ashamed of himself for being human and guilty because he couldn't somehow be positive. He ended up carrying this heavy burden, not just because of life's challenges, but because of the belief that he was failing somehow because he couldn't stay positive. Psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott, he was really amazing. He was a pediatrician in the 50s and 60s who became a psychoanalyst and really had some fantastic ideas. If you're into psychoanalysis, read Donald Winnicott. He described what he called the false self, which is a facade we create to protect our true selves from harm or rejection. So the false self is that always smiling, ever optimistic version of ourselves that we present to the world. And when we constantly push ourselves to stay positive or look on the bright side, we're reinforcing this false self, hiding our authentic self and all that we feel, sadness, anger, fear, whatever, behind a mask of perpetual happiness. And if we are loved, then guess what gets the love? The mask. We feel like the mask is getting the love. Everyone loves the mask, but the real us, the person behind the mask, isn't known. So we can feel with people, but still profoundly lonely and disconnected. Can you relate to that? Do you ever post inspirational quotes on social media while feeling horrible? Or do you tell friends, I'm fine, when you're actually struggling? By the way, Fine is a song by Aerosmith, and it stands for effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Yes, love that. Don't be so fine. Over time, living with this false self-persona leads to emptiness, disconnection, depression even. True emotional health is not about always being happy. It's about being authentic. By recognizing and gently challenging our false self, we can live more authentically and experience the full richness of life. When we force positivity, we don't allow ourselves to process what we're really feeling. And when we don't process our emotions, by the way, they don't go away. You can't positive think away your emotions. They also get stored in our bodies as well as our minds. They become the tension in our shoulders, the knot in our stomach, the anxiety that keeps us up at night with that heart pounding, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what if, what if? My friend Alicia, she had been struggling with chronic back pain for years. She had seen every kind of doctor, tried physical therapy, acupuncture, chiropractor, yoga, Pilates, like you name it, she tried it. And nothing helped until she went to therapy, psychotherapy. And she started talking about what she was feeling, as in her emotional pain, not her physical pain. The reality was that Alicia had been carrying years of unacknowledged feelings, sadness and frustration. But she had always been the strong one, right? The one who kept it together for everyone else. And she had learned to bury her emotions because she believed they were unacceptable and she should be strong, aka not have feelings, not be human. So when she finally started to acknowledge and feel her feelings, something amazing happened. Her back pain began to go away. She had been somatizing those emotions, meaning that her body was expressing what her mind could not. So even though she was being strong and staying positive, her body felt the burden of everything that was going on with her. And when she processed that emotional weight she'd been carrying, she released the physical tension as well. Really powerful. So how do we break free from this trap of toxic positivity? Here are some practical steps. The next time someone shares their pain or frustration, something that's going on with them that's not so happy, resist the urge to cheer them up. Resist the urge to offer advice. Instead, say something like, "That sounds really hard. I'm here for you. That sounds really painful. I am here for you." It's amazing how powerful that can be, just to feel like you're seen and you're heard. And that's a gift that you can give someone else and yourself. I remember years ago, I went through a miscarriage, and everyone told me, "Oh, it happens for a reason. Stay positive. You'll get pregnant soon. Blah, 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 blah. There's a baby in your future. It's just not the right time. Stay positive, stay positive." And my mother-in-law, of all people, said, "You know what, Nina? It's just shit. It's just a shitty thing to happen. It's horrible." And that's actually what made me feel better, because I felt just like the Empress did when I said, "Yeah, that hurts." I felt heard. I felt known. It was powerful. Also, challenge the shoulds. Whenever you catch yourself saying, "I should be happy," or "I shouldn't feel this way," "I should be looking on the bright side," challenge that. Replace it with curiosity. Why do I feel this way? What's going on with me? Be curious. And again, find a safe space for all your emotions. Surround yourself with people who allow you to be your true, authentic, full self, who don't expect you to be positive all the time, who aren't positive themselves. This could be friends, a therapist, a coach, a support group, people who accept your perfectly imperfect self, because we're all perfectly imperfect, right? And I want to also leave you with this thought. A happy life isn't about being happy all the time. It is about embracing the messy, complicated, beautiful spectrum of emotions that make you human. So this week, I challenge you to embrace one uncomfortable emotion. Maybe it's sadness, maybe it's frustration, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's guilt. Let yourself identify it, allow yourself to express it, just name it without judgment and without trying to fix the situation or change yourself. Notice what happens when you just express what you feel without trying to change. I'll tell you what happens. You actually feel better. Spoiler alert, you're going to feel better. Practice makes progress. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today, and be sure to tune in next time when we talk about turning your inner critic into a friend.